You had your head shaved?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I went lower than normal. Normally it's a little bigger. So,
I did get together some more Game Over music, but if it's just us, we'll save it for next time.
We'll save it. That's fine. What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 54 of the Geekcast. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by my good friend from the UK, Toby. What is up, Toby?
What is up, Bobby? Nice to see you. Looking good with your buzz cut.
Wait. So for people that are watching, it's culture shock right now. It's Toby actually did something. He actually, after a year doing the podcast, he set up his room, and it looks awesome.
Yes.
So, real quick, just explain to people that are watching on the video what you did.
All right. So, I used to be on the other side of the room, which was in the background. You had a photo cube and all of the other work-related nonsense. But I thought, since I'm not working in this room anymore, I might as well make some use out of it and make it into a cool, geeky space to be able to do videos and that. So, went to IKEA and I got this thing behind me, which is a 6 foot by 6 foot like shelving unit. It's got, I think, 25 different cubby holes, and it's perfect for displaying all of my geeky stuff, which awesome. Looks great for the background. And this is my Geek Out, actually, so I might just roll straight into that.
Yeah, roll into it.
Yeah, so I'm so happy that now I've got my own little space to finally display my I've got a few amiibo up the top. You can't see them, but
yeah.
I've got my Disney Infinity figures. I've got a little Zelda bit here. I've got a Mario thing behind me. And then, just all sorts. So I'm just really happy to finally have a space for all my stuff.
That's awesome. You know what you need to do? You need to, once it's all set up, you do what you got to do. Go back to IKEA and buy the lights that they sell, the LED lights, the bar lights, and then just light each. You could, dude, I think it's like $20 a pack. It comes with 4 bars. It all plugs into the same thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many, what do you got, 6 down?
I think it's 5 by 5.
Okay. So I would just once a week, just go drop $20, pick up a bar, come back, set it up. Dude, it would look so cool lit up. It would be amazing.
Yeah.
So myself, I am unfortunately geeking out about the same thing. I finally put the finishing touches on my room. I'm going to shoot a video today just showing everything off. The only thing I really have to do is change out the TVs, but that's not going to be till so far away. So I figured, let me just show off my room. I put I showed you yesterday, but I put the vinyls for the Mario Brothers up on the wall, and
super cool stuff.
Dude, they turned out awesome. I was I was joking, and I was like, now I get to put my Mario Maker skills to the test.
Yeah.
And but it was harder than, because just for those that don't know, and I don't know how you don't know if you've been paying attention to anything we've been doing, but the past month I've been building this game room and just changing everything. I painted the walls and changed up the shelving and lit stuff up and took away statues and added stuff and just going crazy down here. So where I originally shot at was a green wall behind me, and I had these 2 it looked like stained glass Zelda themed vinyl decals. So I bought 2 more of those, and I put them on my green walls here. I kept my one wall open so it could be a green screen, but then I went and bought Mario ones as well. And I have Tony came down yesterday and she's like, you have so many different areas that you can film now. It would be I could literally change it up every day and never be under the same. And then with the green screen, I could consistently just change that all the time. So I'm excited to now finally get to focus back on videos and just start cranking out videos of all different stuff. This week I was off and I got to do quite a bit of videos. And then the other thing real quick that I wanted to geek out about is Miguel and I were talking yesterday, and we did a video this week where we went to a game store. And the guy was cool to us. Really cool, the owner. So I said to Miguel, I said, we should do a series where we do 6 episodes, and we do it like a television series where we'll do 6 episodes. I'm going to buy a better camera, a mounting system in the car. So the episodes will be like 20 to 30 minutes long. It'll be like a television show. And we're going to actually pick a place we're going to and go there. And then, so you'll get footage from in the car with us driving to the location, as well as like in the stores. I figure we would do about 6 to maybe 8 episodes in a season. The first season will probably be 6 episodes, just so I can see how people get into it and like it. And just go from there and see how it works. And because we went to that game store and I was like, this was awesome. Like, it's just fun to go up and go check out a game store that's like retro and new games and old games. And he found another one right away when we came home that day. And I was like, we should just build a list, go, I'll just record footage and then break it all down and edit everything. Give me time to edit it so I can do a better job than typically like a rush job. Put a little bit more time into it. And so we'll see. Probably depending on how things go, we might start in a couple weeks with it. But I think that'll be a lot. Yeah, I think that'll be a lot of fun.
I watch the Game Chasers on YouTube, which are basically the same sort of thing. It's like a TV show format where they go around their local, like, shops, like you say, but they also go to like markets and stuff, and they hunt for retro games. And I just love watching stuff like that. And I think it'd be really cool for you to do it as well. I mean, when your video, you said, we went to Next Level Games. And I thought, hang on a minute, you went to see the developers of Luigi's Mansion on 3DS? I was like, no.
I know. But it was, it's just what the guy's store is called. Next Level Video Games was called. Yeah. And that was a lot of fun, and my thing is, I said to Miguel yesterday, I was like, we need to contact these stores before we get there, get permission to shoot inside of them. I said, because it would be boring to like drive up to a store, show the outside, and then just us showing what we got in the store. Like, it'd be kind of cool to show off these stores a little bit too. So, and
your pickups that you got in your video were really cool. Like
my god,
the NES games you got, especially, like,
they were Super Famicom games. I got Mario Paint just because I was like, I gotta get this. You know what I mean? Like, they're Japanese. I can't play them because I don't have a Super Famicom. But the Final Fantasy one was cool because with the Japanese writing on the back of it, I was like, I gotta get this. Like,
and it's Final Fantasy. Like,
I picked it up because it was Final Fantasy V.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love Final Fantasy, like the old school Final Fantasy games. I gotta get this one. And then when I turned it over to look at the price, I saw the Japanese handwriting on it. I was like, I'm definitely getting it now. It's mine. And then the ET Atari cartridge, I had to get that because I played that game so much as a little kid, and I was like, it was like one of my favorite Atari games. And I know that people are like, oh, it's the worst Atari game ever, and I'm like, really? I don't know.
Piece of history, though, isn't it?
That's why I got it, because it's always like, it's got this stigma that it crashed the video game, life, and it almost crushed the industry. So, and that was like one of the last major games that Atari put out before it crashed. And there's that story where they dumped them. They buried all of them in a dump in Arizona. They did Game Up or a Game Over or whatever?
Yeah, there's a documentary about it.
Yeah, or they actually do the dig and they dig it up and they show it all off and stuff. So when I saw that, I was like, I gotta get it. And that's the other thing. Like, everything was so reasonably priced. Like, I paid $1.99 for that Mario Kart game.
Wow.
And I was like, come on. Like, this is flea market prices. Like, where are you going to get prices for this? So,
how much was Final Fantasy?
Final Fantasy was $10. That was a little bit more.
Whoa, $10 is good.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Dude,
he had, I almost bought this. I was like this close to buying it.
Yeah.
Ken Griffey Jr. I can't remember if it was Winning Run, but it was on the N64.
Yeah.
Complete in box.
Yeah.
For $10.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, like, all his complete in box were reasonably priced. Now he had like Super Mario RPG complete in box for $120. And I was like, oh, I'd love to buy that. But I was like, that's a little. But even his consoles are cheap, man. $40 for a Nintendo. Dude, eBay is like $100 all day long. all day long, $100 on eBay. So I was like,
Yeah.
I told Miguel, I'm like, I'm coming back and I'm gonna stock up and we're gonna buy some stuff up here.
Yeah.
So
Cool stuff.
what have you been playing, Tobes?
I've been playing this game, right? Because I was on the PlayStation Store. They're having a sale, like an independent sale, and there was this game on there that just caught my eye. I never heard of it before. It's called LA Cops, right?
Okay.
And I watched the trailer for it. It was like £2.60 something, and the trailer just sort of captured my imagination straight away. It's like, I don't know if you know Hotline Miami, right?
Yes,
but it's like a top-down isometric game. So it's actually 3D, and it's like almost top-down, but it's like at an angle, and you can rotate the camera 360. And you basically control two different LA cops at a time. And the graphics are all like real simplistic, colorful, and bright. And basically, you go on these little missions where you've got to bust into these like drug dens and that, and you've got to kill all the bad guys, or rescue a hostage, or destroy a bunch of drugs and stuff. And it's only one player, but you have two characters at a time. So you can, as you're walking around with one cop, you can tell the other cop to go over and keep watch in a certain position, because they've got a little cone of vision. And they will get your back. If somebody walks in their line of sight, they'll shoot him. And it's very like realistic. If you get shot once or twice with a bullet, you will die. And then you switch to the other character and you control them. Or you can switch between them at any time. So it's real sort of fast-paced, arcadey. You die quickly and you reload quickly. And it's just all about doing it like well, having good accuracy and getting high scores and stuff. So, but it's just a cool. It oozes coolness to it. Like the cutscenes are really good. It's a funny game, like, and it's £2.60. I was like, wow, like this is good value for money. Like a little sweet indie game like this. So, and I've just been addicted to it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I don't care about that game.
No.
You know what game I want to hear about? Did you touch it?
What?
What do you mean? What?
What are we talking about here?
Ukulele.
Oh, ukulele. Yeah. So the other day, I think it was Friday, the ukulele toy box demo came out for backers who backed over £20. It's only on PC, so it's like a self-contained sandbox. Unfortunately, I didn't play it because I went to download it. It that night, and they were having troubles on Steam. Like you could go to the page, but you couldn't download it. And I was looking on the forums on there, and they were saying, oh, yeah, it's a problem with Steam where we've contacted Valve and they're sorting it out. So I didn't try it that night, but I did download it this morning.
Okay, good.
So I will be checking it out. But
I want to know what it's like.
Yeah, I'm really excited to play that.
I don't know why I didn't back that game. I really don't. It's straight. I've never backed a game before. I've always wanted to, and I've come close a couple times, just never pulled the trigger. And I don't know. And that's one that I really wanted to, and I just completely forgot about it. Like it started, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do it. And I was like, I'll do it in a couple weeks. And I just forgot to go back. And
the good thing about Kickstarter is you can click, like if you're signed up to it, there's a little remind me button that you can click. So if you think, oh, I'll back it later, you can click that, and then they'll send you an email before the campaign's over.
I got to do that. Yeah. Myself, I've been playing a bunch of different things. Like I jumped into Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes a little bit, went back to that, was trying that.
Ground Zeroes? But why are you playing that when you've got Metal Gear Solid 5?
Because when I first played Ground Zeroes, I really wasn't that good at it. And it almost made me cancel my pre-order for Metal Gear Solid 5. But then when I played 5, like I picked up a lot of tactics. I was like, let me just go back and play this just to try. I only played it for like an hour or so. But it just frustrated me and I shut it down quick. It's not that good. It's good for a demo, and that's basically all it is. It was a demo of 5. 5 is so much better. I went back, I played a little bit of DC Universe Online. I'm actually going to put more time into that because it kind of got its hooks back in me a little bit. Like I just love that game.
That's free to play, right?
It's free to play, or you can pay. If you pay, you get like all the DLC for free. So I originally, because I paid originally, I have a lot of stuff already unlocked to me. I don't have the newer stuff, like anything over the past year I don't have. But I like it. You know what I mean? Like what I do have unlocked is cool. I have like 4 characters on there, and I just bounce around occasionally. Like I got a couple good guys, a couple bad guys. They're all like different leaders, different people that, you know, control. Like one my leader's Batman, the other one's Superman, one's Flash, and the Joker. I think I have something like that. I don't know exactly. I know I have the Joker. I know I have Batman. And then yesterday I actually went out and bought Pokemon Y. Just because Pokemon Go has got me so
it's got its hooks in you.
Oh, so dude, it's so good. And I said to Miguel yesterday, I was like, now that I kind of know the concept of Pokemon, I want to go play like a legitimate Pokemon game. And like I like Pokemon Go. I enjoy going out with Miguel and all that and playing and hunting and all that stuff. But I'm like, I want to play a game that like has a story to it that involves kind of what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Because we're just running around. And I said to Miguel, I'm like, even when like you go to a gym, all you are is tapping buttons. Because he was saying the other day, like, oh, I got this particular Pikachu and he has this attack. And I'm like, what's the point of it? It don't mean anything. He's like, well, yeah. I was like, no, it doesn't. Because all you're doing is tapping the screen. And then when your thing builds up, you push the button and he throws out the power attack. I'm like, it's not, it's whatever. It's not like, you're not really truly, like electric. Yeah, you want to use electric against water and all that stuff. Like I get that stuff of it, but it doesn't really, it only helps minute.
Yeah, there's nothing strategic about the battle.
Exactly. There's no strategy to it. I wanted, because I'm a fan of RPGs as well, I was like, I want to get in there and I want to try. And I'm 2 hours in. Bought it yesterday. I played an hour yesterday. I played an hour this morning before we started. And I'm like loving it. I'm like, I want more, man. So it's funny because I was going to wait for Sun and Moon to get it. And then I read on Twitter, I follow a podcast, or I listen to a podcast called 8-4-Play, and they basically do translating and stuff for Nintendo. A lot of video game companies they do but they translated like Xenoblade Chronicles X and Fire Emblem Awakening and all these different games they've done. So one of the guy, John Ricciardi, he sent out a tweet and was like, I want to play Pokemon. The same thing as me. Like, I want to play Pokemon. I don't know where to start, blah, blah, blah. Where do I go? And Bill Trinan replied to him. And Bill said, get Y, collect everything you can, get the Poke Bank, and then transfer all those Pokemon into the Poke Bank. And then when Sun and Moon come out, then you could transfer those from the Poke Bank into your new game. And you start off, well, you don't start off, but after a little bit, you get a bunch of different Pokemon. It's not like you're starting fresh all over. And I was like, that's a good idea. That's what
you have to pay for Pokebank though, don't you?
It's $5 a year. Big deal. I waste $5.
I don't know. I feel like that service should be free.
Yeah, but it's on a server, and they got
storing data. Like,
but it's still they're doing whatever. I don't care. It's $5 a year. Who cares, dude? I throw $5 away. Yeah, but come on, we waste $5 on stupid stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I can. How many times have I bought stuff multiple times and wasted it and whatever? It is what it is. So, all right. So our first topic of the day, and this kind of gets into the money situation a little bit. So, what is your feelings about Sony's PlayStation Plus free games or Microsoft's games with gold free games? Do we have the right to question the games or to be mad if they don't give us good games? And this kind of came up because this week, I think Sean Capri posted in the Nintendo Guru group about the Sony games and was like, oh, but I'm sure people complain or something like that, he said. And then I made a comment. And then I think Josh Brandt made a comment after that. And then you put a comment in as well. But I know I've seen this topic come up a lot where a game, or we'll get free games for the month and they may not be that good and people complain. And then you get them people to come in like, oh, but it's free, this, that, and the other. That's what I want to get in. I want to get into that conversation of how you feel about it and such. And do we have the right to complain or whatever?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So to me, Sony are offering a paid service, and as part of that service are these so-called free games. I mean, people argue over whether they're free or not because you can only play them whilst you're a member anyway. So technically, they're not yours to keep; they're just yours to play whilst you're a member.
You're renting pretty much.
Yeah. So, but because it's a service, like the quality of that service does come into question, and the quality of those games is part of that service. So, and I've been a PS Plus member for a long time now, since PS3, and back during the PS3 days, you used to get a higher quality game. Like every month, you'd get a good AAA game, or at least a bigger budget game, maybe a smaller budget and a couple of indies or whatever. But ever since the PS4 launch, it just seems to be nothing but small indie games. And I haven't got a problem with indie games, but the ones that they've been offering over the past year just haven't piqued my interest at all. I think there's been 3, maybe 4 indie games that I've downloaded and kept downloaded, whereas the others I've downloaded them, tried them out. Not my thing, just get rid of them. Like they're throwaway.
Yeah.
And you know, my feeling is that the quality has dropped dramatically, and now you have to pay to actually play online.
Yes.
So, whereas before, I don't think you did on PS3.
You didn't.
So,
you didn't have to. Nope.
So now it's like, all right, they're forcing me to pay to play online.
Yeah.
And that kind of bugs me. Like, because if I didn't play GTA Online, I probably wouldn't have PS Plus.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what? And here's the situation for me. That just because I thought about it yesterday, and I was like, this is what bugs me. Like, with I feel like if I'm paying for PlayStation Plus, I should get DC Universe Online stuff, content for free. Like, so you're telling me I have to pay to play online, and then I have to pay you additional money to get content of that game. So it should be one or the other. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have to pay $30 a month in order to get content for a game or buy DLC individually. Like, I feel like give me that option. I would much rather take the content of DC Universe Online for free than the games that they're giving me. I just feel like the games they're giving me, I haven't gotten them. Like, I got them last month. They weren't that good. I got them the month before. Like you said, a lot of them are indie games. And I don't get me wrong. You know this. We both are the same mindset. We love indie developers. We love indie games. But it's not like it's, you know what I mean? It's not like we're getting Shovel Knight or we're getting Steam World or anything like that. Like, we're not getting top tier indie games. We're getting like just games you've never even heard of. Like,
yeah, a lot of them are quite experimental, abstract games that are very like artsy, you know, rather than core sort of games that, you know, of formulas that we know work, like SteamWorld Heist and Rogue Legacy and stuff. I mean, we did get Rogue Legacy like ages ago, but
my feeling is this: if I'm paying for a service, if I don't like that service, I wholeheartedly have the right to voice my opinion of not liking it. If you like it and you're a fanboy and you want to go the opposite way and act like, oh, it's free, that's honestly, the people that say that we don't have the right to say anything, I get that feeling of like, you're a fanboy. You're defending Sony to the hilt. I feel like I have the right to say something. If you charge me for a service, I have my right to dispute it, whether it's good or bad. And if you don't agree with me, all of a sudden you start attacking and going like, oh, well, you're entitled. I'm not entitled. I got news for you. I was born in a generation that there's no such thing as we didn't get a trophy for showing up or none of that nonsense. Like, we got trophies when we won championships, things of that nature. Like, I'm the furthest thing from entitled. Like, I'm all about value and stuff like that as well. But I feel like, yeah, it's free, but it's not free. Like you said, I don't get the game.
Yeah.
Giving it to me for free is saying that, like, when I discontinue the service, I can still play the games. I can't play the games once I discontinue the service. I lose all rights to those.
Basically, yeah, we're renting the games.
Yes.
And we don't get to choose which games they are. So.
Yes, exactly. And that's where I feel like, I would rather them give me PlayStation Classics. Like, give me PlayStation 1 games. But then again, then they ruin their PlayStation Now service that they're charging us money on, and they don't want to do that. I feel like if this was... I feel like if it was Nintendo, people would be very more aggressive to attack it and go after it, as opposed to, because it's Sony, they're kind of giving them a free pass right now. Because I feel like right now, Sony gets a free pass on a lot of stuff that they're doing. Like, first off, they're not producing a lot of games. We're very highly reliant upon third-party games and developers. We'll get, like... That's the thing. Like, people take shots at, and I'm not trying to change the subject at all, but like people take shots at Nintendo for like their lack of games. If Nintendo had the third-party support, this is why I always say that it's so important that we get third-party support with what Nintendo does. Because if you look at what Sony does, it's the same thing. They're not really producing a lot of first-party games. They're reliant upon all their third-party developers in order to keep them up and going. But I feel like with this particular situation, I feel like it flip-flops. You get Microsoft that will go a couple of months and they'll have some great games, and then they start to get weak. And when they get weak, it seems like Sony picks it up. There's been some months where we get some really good stuff. Like, we got Gone Home last month. I downloaded it. I started to play it, and I was like, yeah, I don't like it. And I know it's a very niche game. But it just didn't do it for me. And I played about an hour or so, and I was just like, all right, I'm just walking around, I'm picking stuff up, and I'm like looking for clues, and I'm like, this is just not, what I mean? Like, I don't know. So I shut it down.
What if Nintendo started charging for online? What would you expect to come with that as a service?
Well, if it's me, I would say that you got to give us, I would say give us it's funny because me and Sean were talking about this on the podcast if we were in Nintendo. And I believe the way we laid it out was if Nintendo, we called it Nintendo Power. That was the way we branded the service. Mm-hmm. And I believe we said that if you did this, if you bought this service, it would unlock you to cross-buy. So that's our biggest, it's one of our biggest complaints, right? Where we don't have cross-buy across the board. Like, mm-hmm. How many times we bought Super Mario Brothers? How many times we bought, whatever. Link to the Past, you know what I mean? So I feel like that would be number one. It would unlock you to cross-buy, that you would get it no matter what console you have. Two would be, I think that they should give you one classic game a month, possibly two, depending upon the size of the game. Mm-hmm. And, it should be like a virtual console game or eShop game. And then maybe they can go into... It's hard, man. It's so hard. Because Nintendo's not doing anything at the moment, and they're not charging for their service. So it's like, what exactly would you get? So, all right, let me. I'm rambling. The way I would do it is this: I would say, I would pay $50 a year, keep it the same as the other guys. I would give obviously online, but that would have to entitle, like, I want voice chat with that. I want like a party chat system type thing. I want better multiplayer online stuff. Mm-hmm. I want cross-buy, depending on virtual console games, and once a month they give us one game. It can be, doesn't matter what it is. I would like an eShop, not an eShop, but a virtual console game. Doesn't matter what it is, though. It could be from any system, NES, Game Boy, whatever, and that would be... I'd be good with that.
But the thing is, when you compare that to PS Plus as a service, mm-hmm. The value for money isn't there, because with PlayStation's online, you do get voice chat as standard. It's not like something extra you're paying for. It's just there to be expected. So Nintendo should be at that level anyway.
Well, yeah.
And the crossbuy is a thing that Sony has, just even without PS Plus.
Yeah.
So I don't think you should have to pay for that privilege.
I don't think you should either, but since they're not doing it, like...
Yeah, but it doesn't make it acceptable to say, I want to pay for that. I think Nintendo should offer that anyway, But
here's the thing. Okay, so the reason why I say this is when you listen to... Image of Form was talking about this not too long ago, and Brian said, because people had asked him, would we get, if we bought the 3DS version of SteamWorld Heist, would we automatically get it for free on the Wii U, like they did with the PS4 and Vita?
Yeah. And
his response was no. The Wii U and the 3DS don't really talk the same language. So there's more work that has to go into it in order to make that a cross-buy situation. That's why I would say you need to give them some money, because they need to develop it and they need to make it work across board. And that's why I would say, like, if I'm paying you for something, then yes, you owe it to me to give it to me for free.
I suppose the difference between a 3DS and a Wii U game is larger than the difference between a Vita game and a PS4 game.
And that's what he said. He said the difference between a Vita and a PS4 is, he said there's a difference, but it's very minute. It's not that big a deal. Between a Wii U and a 3DS, it's a more drastic difference, which makes it more difficult to do a situation like this. He said, I would love to do this, but I literally have to put more guys on it and make it work. So in that mindset, knowing that, having that knowledge, that's why I turn around and go, like, it's not a simple no-brainer to go like, well, they do it, so you should get it. You know, maybe when they're building the NX, they could future-proof it per se and make it easier to do something like that. But that's where I would.
So how would you improve PS Plus if you ran PS Plus? You were head of that division. Like, what would you do?
Man, the one thing I do, and see, here's the way I look at it with PlayStation Plus. This is my view. I don't really care about the free games because to me, they're garbage.
What about the discount that you get? The PS
That's
Plus?
What I was going to say. With the discount, that's what's the bigger push for me, as opposed to the games. The free games, like occasionally I'll get a good game and I'm like, oh, this is awesome, and I got it for free. You know, but again, we don't own it, so it doesn't matter. But to me, the discounts you get, like I bought Madden, was it 2K16, whatever, the last Madden that came out. And I bought it and I paid $17 for it. But that was because it was like $40 with, it was on sale, right? So it was like $40, but then they gave you additional money if you're a PlayStation Plus member, and it dropped down to $17. And I was like, now it's a no-brainer. Like $40, I thought about it. And then I actually went and looked I looked at Best Buy and Amazon, and they were like still $60. And I was like, all right, this is a no-brainer now. So I bought it. So to me, that's where the value is. And that's where I get my money back for the $50 in the discounts. Like, again, I'm not acting like I don't, like I got games like Game of Thrones, all the entire Telltale series for $5 because it was on sale. Yeah. Like that's where I get my value, because typically isn't it like $5 a chapter? Yeah. And I got the entire series for $5. So that's where I look at it and I go, that's where my value for PlayStation Plus is. My value is not the free games, because again, they're not free. I'm not getting them. I don't own them. There's no there's no ownership of those titles. So that's where I feel like that's where the money, the value is.
PS Plus, I mean, the free games are good if you are really ingrained in the Sony systems, because if you've got a PS3, a PS4, and a Vita, then you get like 6 or 7 games a month rather than just 3.
Yes.
And it's like a lot of the PS3 games are decent games. Like this month, Yakuza 5 is free. And that's like a pretty good PS3 game. Like, I mean, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I think that is way better than what we get on PS4 because we're just getting these weird indie games on PS4.
Yeah.
And I think if I still had my PS3 set up, that'd be great. I wouldn't be as complaining as much, but
I actually thought about going back and going and buying another PS3 because I don't even own my PS3 anymore. Like I think, if I'm not mistaken, I gave my PS3 to my nephew. Is what I did when I bought my PS4. I gave my PS3 to my nephew because his had broken. But I'm thinking about going back and getting it, and because I had PlayStation Plus, I would at least get games for free on it each month, so I wouldn't have to worry about spending money. But there's games that I want that aren't on the PS4 still, and like I want to play Arkham Origins. Like I got this bug to go back and play it. Like I played it on the Wii U, and it was buggy, as hell. And I heard that the PS3 version ran better. So I kind of wanted to go back and play it because it's the only one that I didn't beat, and it bugs me. You know what I mean? It's one of them things that just I know Rocksteady didn't make it and all that, but it bugs me that I didn't beat that game. So I want to go back, but I thought it was on the PS4. And I went looking the other day, and I'm like, oh my God, it's only PS3, man. I can't even get it. So I'm thinking about going and just buying one from GameStop. I can get one for $50, $60, something like that. So I'm thinking like, I'll spend $50, $60 and have it, and I could go back and play some PlayStation 3 games. Because let's be honest, it's not like PlayStation 3 games are bad.
No, you know? The good thing about PS3 is a lot of the classic games are on the PlayStation Store for PS3, like PS1 and PS2. Whereas a lot of those games just aren't on the PS4 store for whatever reason. Like it doesn't run games that way.
PlayStation Now. They want that's what it basically boils down to. You're
probably right about that.
That's basically what it boils down to. They want you to buy that PlayStation Now service.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's BS. You know, it's a rental service, and I don't even get it, and I don't even want to try to even figure it out. Like I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm not renting games online. Like I'll buy the game. I'd rather pay you the money and own it than try. You know, I get it if it's something you're not really sure about, and you just want to try it out. Okay, so you rent it for $3 for an hour, and you go, "Oh, this is awesome! I'm going to buy it." Okay, fine, but no, I'm not into Redbox. I'm not into any of that because you know what my fear is, and I know this is totally different than Redbox. I know it's a digital service, but like a Redbox service or GoFly or whatever, GameFly, whatever. My issue with those is I've always had an issue with discs and cartridges, like putting someone else's in my system. Because their discs are always dirty, and I always
you're not putting someone else's digital download in your system.
No, I know that. That's why I changed what I was saying a little bit. But for me, renting, that's why I've never been big on renting. That's why I wanted to buy used game. When I go to GameStop, and they'll give you the option, they'll be like, "Oh, you could save $5." No, give me the new one. I want the brand new one. I don't want.
I feel dirty buying used games, like.
Because you don't know how I know how I take care of my stuff.
I know, yeah.
And my stuff is pristine, man. Yep. Like you could open any one of them games and you can look at it and it's like perfect.
Like brand new, yeah.
You know, and I take care of my stuff. And like you could open any of the boxes and that game is in there. It's not like in another box, and like I take care of my stuff. So I don't know how other people take care of this. And I think about like if they were like my brother, good God. Like I would go into his house sometimes and he would have like discs laying on the floor. And I'm like, what are you doing, dude?
Oh, man.
Like, what is wrong with you?
The scratches, it's like, you know, you just pictured it like little kids, like going to put a disc in, and like, this was like more back on like the PS1, PS2 games. But like, they'd be like putting the disc and they wouldn't put it in properly, and they'd be like rolling it around trying to get it in. Like, you're just scratching it. I'm kid, like, please look after it.
Please stop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not like, I'm not. But I think we'll rein it back in a little bit and get back on topic. I feel like, number one, if you are paying for a service, you absolutely have the right to question the value of what you're getting. If what Sony is selling everybody on is saying like, hey, we're giving you 2 free games a month, this is awesome, you have the right to turn around and go, no, it's garbage. That's not what I am not one of those people that feel like the PlayStation Plus service is garbage. I feel like it's a good service, but I view it differently. I'm not viewing it as the games I'm getting for free is good. I'm viewing it as the discounts I get from the store are what's awesome. Because well, not only that, we'll get like PlayStation Plus only sales that are sales for us that aren't for everybody. So that's where my value comes from. And I think that's where people need to change their perspective and go, I don't get PlayStation Plus for the free games or the online service. I get them for the discounts. You know, it's like I pay an example. I pay Best Buy $30 every 2 years, and that is the Gamers Unlock program. And I have earned back my $30 easily because of the discounts that I've taken advantage of and the sales that I've taken advantage of. So typically, like Best Buy will do the same exact thing. Like there'll be a sale. The example I always use is when I bought Gamers Unlocked, I paid $30, and MLB The Show at the time, whatever one it was, 2015, 2016, I don't know which one it was at the time. Brand new game. It was only like a couple months old, right? So $60 game. I got it for $20 with Gamers Unlocked. And I was like, there you go. I just legitimately got this game for, I saved $40. And that was only 2 days after I bought the program. Saved $40. It was a one-day only sale. It was just like deal of the day. And if you were Gamers Unlocked, you got it for $20. And I was like, so there you go. I saved $40 on one purchase. I justified anything else I do at this point. And it was funny because I just went in the other day, and I was yesterday when I went and bought Pokemon Y, and me and Miguel, I was like, man, they never put Nintendo games on sale. It drives me crazy. And then as I'm sitting there, I look at the chart, I go, oh my God, I'm a member. There you go. I just saved $7, or I was like $8 I saved on it. I was like, that's added value. Like I'm continuing, you know, a year later, I'm still saving money. So that's where I think that's what people need to look at. They need to look at where the true value of it is. So I think we're good on that topic, right?
Yeah, we went along.
We went along on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so our last topic of the day.
This is the more exciting thing to talk about.
Yeah, this is where we get the good stuff. So with the latest NX rumors, do you think it is a good thing or a bad thing for Nintendo? And the rumors we're talking about are from Eurogamer, so I think they hold a little more validity than like Twitter rumors from different people that were posting stuff and NeoGAF and all that. So if you haven't heard, the latest rumor is basically that we're gonna get a handheld per se, where the grips or the knobs detach, and then the screen part then gets put into a home base that is plugged into your TV, and then you can play Nintendo games on the go or on the TV. So we're getting a hybrid system. What do you think, Tobes?
I think this is nothing but good news. Like I am over the moon about this, if this is true.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is it's like, you know, you picture the 3DS, and that's a low-powered machine that's got a simple touchscreen on it, and it plays decent games, but graphically it's a big downgrade from the Wii U. Yes. And the NX, like the way it's been described, not only with the chips that are processing everything, but it sounds like it's going to be at least as powerful as a Wii U. So probably better than a Vita, you know.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, it's probably going to be a lot nicer than that, like in terms of graphics and processing power and that. Which that worries me because of the battery. That's one of the only things that worries me is the battery thing.
Yeah.
But you know, because it's a handheld first, you think there's going to be the developers of these handheld 3DS games and the Wii U developers, like those two sort of groups of people are going to be making games for one device, and they're going to have a jump in quality because you're going to have a HD Pokemon game, you know, you're going to have a top-down Zelda game probably that you can play on your TV. Like imagine like a HD Link Between Worlds on your TV.
Absolutely.
You know, and just that alone, having more games like on this one device that you can play on the TV, like this, my mind's just all over. You can probably tell, like there's so many possibilities for this thing that it's just crazy.
I think the thing that drove me crazy was how long. Now you're in Nintendo groups, same ones that I'm in, and for how long? For like the last 3 years, any time a conversation came up about the next console, it was always, I want a hybrid. I want a hybrid. I want a hybrid.
Yeah.
They give us, in theory, as long as the rumors are true, they're giving us a hybrid, and everybody is flipping out, pissed off, acting like the world's coming to an end. And I'm just sitting there scratching my head, and I'm going, how can this upset you? How in the world can...
It's insane, because you imagine... the new Zelda Breath of the Wild is going to play on this NX. They've confirmed it's coming to it.
Yes.
So you imagine taking that with you out and about, or even just sitting in bed under your covers playing Zelda or whatever. Like, you know, that's a possibility now. And then when you're done playing with it, your battery's about to run out, plug it into your TV or whatever.
Yeah. I look at it like this. Here's my thinking. I go to Disney every year. Pretty much every single year, Tony and I go to Disney World. Right. So I'm thinking, I'm like, and I always take my 3DS, and then every night, you know, after the day in the parks or whatever, and I'll tell you, I'll go a step further. Last time we went to Disney, what I did was every single morning, I get up earlier than Tony. I get up at 5 o'clock. I'd get up at 5, crawl out of bed, jump in the shower, get dressed. I'd make my way down to like the cafeteria area, and I'd get a cup of coffee, and I'd sit there from 6 to 7 o'clock, drinking my coffee, playing my 3DS. And then at 7 o'clock, all of a sudden you start seeing the kids start coming in, and I would just get up and I go back to the room. So much so that the last day of my trip, I was sitting there, and the woman that cleans the tables off came up to me, and she goes, "Oh, you're at your table again, I see." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's the last day." And she goes, "It's not going to be the same here tomorrow without you." And I started to laugh, and I just headed back to my room. But you're telling me now that I could play Breath of the Wild in Disney World every day and not skip a beat? Because what, to me, one of the biggest issues was if I started a game on the Wii U and then I would go away for a week and I would come back, I'd be lost.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'd be like, where was I? Especially adventure games. You're like, where was I? What was I doing? Where, you know, man, now I got to kind of like spend an hour or two trying to reacclimate myself with my surroundings and what I'm doing. Now I don't have to do that. Now I can just continue to play where I was playing. Dude, I don't get it. And the fact of like, I can actually now get Fire Emblem on my big TV.
Yeah.
I can actually now get Animal Crossing the way that I wanted it so badly with New Leaf, where like, I love the fact that I could take it on the go and play it wherever I was. And then when I came home, I was like, oh man, I would love to be fishing today, Saturday morning on the TV.
Yeah.
Like, I love the GameCube version and I love the Wii version of it. So for me, I was like, and this is the best of both worlds. Like, I could take this game on the go and play it and then come back and then boom, I could play it again. Dude, it's so awesome. It really is.
You think about Mario Kart, because you had Mario Kart on the Wii, and then you waited for the 3DS Mario Kart to come out, and then you got Mario Kart 8, and the gap between Mario Kart Wii and Mario Kart 8 was much longer because they were making the 3DS one.
Yes.
And you think, well, if you didn't have to make the 3DS one in the first place, if you're just making one Mario Kart for one system, you're going to get them more often. And that's the same with a lot of Nintendo's franchises.
Yeah. And that's my thing, because this is Nintendo has set themselves up, I feel. This is my opinion. They have set themselves up that if the third parties want to come along for the ride, come join us. But we don't need you. Because the biggest issue with the Wii U was not enough games. And I've always said this forever. If you were in Nintendo's ecosystem, if you played everything on the Wii U and the 3DS, you really didn't have a lull in games.
No.
Because it seemed like something big would hit on the Wii U and then something on the 3DS and then on the Wii U and then the 3DS. And then maybe the 3DS again and then the Wii U. But it was constantly like 1 to 3 games a month and they were decent sized games. They weren't like little rinky dink games. And I felt like, or I do feel like now, like you said, less time to wait. Like, okay, we got 3D Land and 3D World, one on the 3DS, one on the Wii U. And there was probably a year gap between the two games.
Mm-hmm.
So now if you're telling me that like we could get, in theory, a Galaxy 3 at the beginning of the life cycle, and then 3 years later, 4 years later, we could get a sequel to that, or a different 3D game, boom. And then 3-4 years later, you get another one. Like,
well, even 2 years. Like the difference between Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 was only like 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So that shows when you have one team working on something and going, like, in order to make a 3DS game and a Wii U game, you had to put separate teams on it. You couldn't put the same teams on it, but it was separate teams working they were working parallel at the same time. One hit here, one hit there, go. And it was probably a situation where, like, when the 3DS wrapped up, some of those members moved over to the Wii U to help with that version. But now you've multiplied your development teams from, let's say, 20 working on 10 games, or 20 working on 20 games to now, but for 2 consoles, now you've got 20 games hitting one console. Mm-hmm. That, by the way, it's a handheld and a home console. The other thing that people are complaining about that I wanted to address was they were saying, like, well, this makes no sense because, America's not a big handheld country. Yeah, but Japan is. And the Wii U didn't sell in Japan. So now, again, you're back to that situation of you have it benefits both sides. It benefits Japan.
I don't believe that for a second, though, because I don't think a lot of handheld gamers don't play on the go. They just play in their house, on the couch or whatever. And one of the biggest selling points for the Wii U was the gamepad. You didn't have to have the TV on to be able to play, but you were tethered by a short range. Whereas in this case, in the NX, like, you're not going to have that tether. You're going to be able to go to a different room in the house, and just keep playing. And I mean, you don't have to worry about that because you've got like 10 TVs, right? But
I only get the console hooked to one. So
yeah, exactly. So there you go. So cartridges as well. Just quickly, like, the loading times are going to be so much quicker.
Yes,
there's not like a laser reading it or anything, so that's going to put costs down. And there's just there are a few things about this that do worry me. Like I said earlier.
Let's talk about that. What worries you with this?
So, like, I mentioned the battery. So if it's a higher powered device, and you think about the gamepad battery life, 3 hours if you're lucky, and that's a big clunky thing. And you think,
however, I have the expanded battery. Mine lasts 8 hours.
But the gamepad doesn't have all of the processing inside of it. That was in the Wii U.
I know.
So this NX controller is going to have processing inside the controller. That's how you play it on the go. Mm-hmm. So that's going to draw more battery. So, I am a little bit concerned about that. But
and that's not even, and if the theory is correct, it's in that screen.
Yeah.
All the computer processing is in that screen.
Yeah.
And I believe the way they called it was the brain, because then when you take that out, you take that screen and you insert it into the home base.
Yeah.
And that is what is hooked to your TV.
Yeah, what is also interesting is Nintendo got the patent for the supplemental computing device. And I was looking at that, and that basically says that you can plug something into it to boost the processing power for your TV. Mm-hmm. So maybe that is what they're going to do with the NX. Maybe the handheld is good, but if you want to play it blown up 1080p, 60 frames on your TV, you might need a bit of extra processing power. Okay. So that's how they're going to handle that.
And the one thing that they were saying was with this NVIDIA, because that's basically essentially what it's all coming down to. NVIDIA, whatever.
NVIDIA.
NVIDIA? Is it NVIDIA?
NVIDIA, yeah.
NVIDIA. Yeah. NVIDIA. I don't care. I call it NVIDIA.
Live in NVIDIA, loca.
NVIDIA. Anyway, NVIDIA. The way that they're saying, in theory, is Nintendo is using the X1 chip from them. Mm-hmm. Now, there is a rumor that Nintendo is actually going to get the X2 chip, which isn't out yet. But that could have been the delay, is that they were waiting on NVIDIA to come up with this chip and all that. But in theory, they did a test with this, and they ran 2 games that ran on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. I forget the names of the games.
I think one was Doom. I don't know what the other one was.
I thought the other one was Fables. Maybe I could be wrong. But whatever. That's not the point. The point is that those 2 games that they ran, and there were 2 different ends of the spectrum. When they ran on the 360 and the PS3, they could not handle 1080p, and they couldn't handle 1080p at 60 frames or 1080p at 30 frames. It was like 720. The NVIDIA this X1 chip can actually handle both of those games at 1080p 30 and 1080p 60, because one runs at 1080, one's 30 and one's 60, the 2 different games they had, and they can run it seamlessly, like clockwork. That's exciting. That's exciting because it's saying, like, we know that this isn't going to be a PS4. We know that. There's no way that a hybrid system is going to be a PS4. But if this handheld version, because maybe this is the situation. Maybe the situation is this. And that's what people aren't, because we haven't gotten anything official from Nintendo. But in theory, what if this handheld device is the power of a Wii U? You know what I mean? And because Wii U is more powerful than a PS3 and a 360. So what if the handheld version is a Wii U, and then when you go to the home console, it up-reses and everything runs more powerful to the level of an Xbox One, or just a little less than Xbox One? I think then you look at it and you go, okay, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Like, that would, I think ultimately the people that are complaining are, no offense, but they're graphic whores. And they're people that are just like, oh, it's got to be this. Look at it. I don't look at my PS4 and go, oh, it runs this spec. I could care less. Because at the end of the day, you guys want to sit there and throw your specs around, all this nonsense. Ultimately, you're behind the times. Don't matter. PS4, Xbox One, you got nothing for a computer. PC outruns you guys day and night, all day long. So at the end of the day, you're always going to play catch up to that. So it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? To me, I feel like I just want something that plays good, solid games. Yeah. And that's what Nintendo always has done. Like, I'll put my Wii U up against anything in terms of, like, the fun on that console. Yeah. I definitely, the first year and a half wasn't fun. I'll be honest with you. Like, at the time, I was like, oh, this is a great console, but I really wasn't loving it. I was like, okay, this is okay. I actually left with my Wii U in the first couple of years to go to my PS3 to play Last of Us, to play GTA 5 and all that stuff. And then when we started getting the games, Mario Kart, Tropical Freeze, Yoshi, Mario Maker, Smash, all these games, Wind Waker, all this stuff, I was like, man, this thing is awesome. Because that's when you really got a feel for what the console was. And it just felt like everything was coming out at that one point. And it was just like, the Metacritic was exploding. Everything was like high 90s. You know, every single game that was coming out for a long time there. So I love my Wii U. I can't ever complain about it. You know, I would have liked a little bit more. But at the end of the day, like, I know that a lot of that went down because the third parties bailed on Nintendo. So there's not much you could do. Yeah. I mean, the other thing that we didn't get to that worries me is the way that Eurogamer was describing the handheld device would have detachable side controllers. And the thing, you know, they've made their own mock-ups. Yes. And the way they've drawn them doesn't look good to me. Like, it does seem a little weird.
Because the way they've done it is, on the left is you've got the stick and then you've got a D-pad, and on the right you've got another stick and then you've got the face buttons. And I think if you snap them off and turn them on their side, all right, they do vaguely resemble a Wii remote, but they don't have, like, everything that a Wii remote has on it. And, like, how are you going to turn one of them on their side that's got a stick and a D-pad? That's no use to anyone, you know? And they look small, and even if you can click them together, it's just going to be a little square controller, or
Yeah.
just they're going to be like real close together, those two sticks or whatever. And it makes me think like, I know that they're only Eurogamers like mock-ups, so they're probably like nothing compared to what's actually going to be out. But I just can't. I'm struggling to picture a good way to design something like that.
My only hope is that I'm good with the mock-ups, as long as when I take that centerpiece out and I put that into my home base, I can actually use a real controller, like a pro controller or something like that.
Yeah.
Then I'll be happy. That would probably be the only thing that could upset me with this whole situation, is if I can't use a true to form controller. If I'm stuck with, like you just said, taking those two pieces and clicking them together, and that becomes my controller, and I'm down here like this. No, I don't want that at all. So that would be the only thing to me that could mess me up.
And then, like, would the controllers, like, if you snap them off, would they have to have their own batteries, or would they just be wired into the device? Like, there's just weirdness about that.
Well, and, ultimately, like, at this point, we're just waiting on a lot of questions. We have a lot of questions. We're just waiting on a lot of answers. And I think the other thing that's got me excited is we're probably only 2 months away from getting answers, ultimately in September. And I'll tell you exactly when it's going to be. The first week of September, when I go away on vacation. I'll go away, and I'll be in Disney World, and I won't be able to actually like go look stuff up, because Tony will literally knock me out if I'm too focused on that stuff. And I'm like
filming videos in the hotel bathroom, like whispering to the camera.
Yeah, exactly. Hiding. Like, I'll be walking through the park, like talking into the microphone.
Yeah.
And Tony would be like, "What are you doing?" I'll be on Space Mountain, like screaming and trying to record at the same time.
I can't believe this, Alex. It's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. So that's basically where I'm at. But I think you got valid points. I think your fears. The battery is an absolute one. I look at the battery of the 3DS. I look at the battery of the Pro Controller, and I go, I don't have no fear. But then I look at the battery of the gamepad, the original battery, and I'm like, man, hopefully they don't mess this up. But
like an iPod or an iPad battery, or like a tablet, they seem to last a fairly good time. Like,
I think right now too, the technology is there that we don't necessarily have to worry too much. I feel like the technology is there, and if it sounds to me like some of the stuff that they're doing is to get the costing down.
Yeah.
My question is this, man, what do you think this thing costs?
I think it would cost £250,
which is probably about $300 for me.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit more than that, and I'd be fine with that. My only question at that point is it $300 for just the handheld, and then I have to buy the home base?
I think separate? Yeah, if you want the home base, I think that will be an extra £50 on top.
And I wouldn't have no problem. Honestly, man, I would pay it. I would.
That's if it has the extra computing power inside of it. I would buy it as well.
Yeah, I think I need to start saving now, because I think it's gonna be one of those things of like, they're gonna make the announcement and then the pre-orders are gonna go up like an hour later, and it'll be all sold out, and I'll be like one of the idiots that don't have one, screaming, crying.
Yeah.
So,
and I think. I love that it is this crazy hybrid idea, because it's different. It's not like, oh, another Xbox One or another PlayStation 4. Like, the Wii U was, close to that, but they had the tablet as a different thing. All right, nobody used it, but at least they were trying something different.
But they tried. If you remember back when they originally announced the Wii U with the gamepad, both Sony and Microsoft came out the next E3 touting they had, like, the Vita was supposed to
tablets or Vita, or
you could connect the Vita with it, and then you could connect your tablet to the Xbox One, and that's what they were pushing. And then when they saw that they weren't selling, they walked away from that. Yeah. But ultimately, that was the original. Everybody was pushing that way, and I think that's where Nintendo's just like, we want to keep it hush because we don't want people to steal our ideas, because ultimately that's what Nintendo, or that's what Sony and Microsoft are known for, trying to grab their gimmicks and go with it. And it didn't. I think that the problem was with the Wii U is it hit and it had the right idea. Tablets were just starting, but in order to get a tablet, you were spending $400, $600, $800 for an iPad. There were no cheap tablets. And when Nintendo was coming out, they were hitting the market at the right time. But the problem was Amazon came out with those Kindle Fires and stuff for like $100, and that was it. That was game over for Nintendo, because the difference was you could take that tablet wherever you wanted to go. Where Nintendo could have competed with Apple per se, because they could have been like, hey, you get a game console with Nintendo games and you get this tablet for your kids. Oh, you can't take it and go, well, yeah, but it's only $300. It's not, it's not $500, $600. So what do you expect? And parents would have bought into that. I think and plus there was a lot of mismanagement with the message and stuff, and I get that. But I think that when you looked at the tablet, I don't feel like the tablet was that bad of an idea until the other tablets started coming out, and then people started pointing, going, "Like, why do I have to pay $300 to get a tablet that has to stay at the house when I can pay $100 and take this thing on the go?"
Yeah.
Ultimately, so that is all. Thank you guys for listening to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher. Toby, I love the background. Good job.
Thank you.
I gotta tell you that. And you guys can see that if you watch the YouTube version of this podcast. Follow Toby, Instagram at amiibo_workshop. Follow him on Twitter at Toby's_take. You can follow me, Instagram and Twitter at Nintendo Gurus. That is all. Peace out, Cub Scout.
See me later.
That makes me laugh every time. And every time that I go to say it now in my videos, I hear your voice say it that kooky way, and I'm like, son of a gun. Son of a gun. Start to think about taking a chance. You can't give a damn. I'm a hopeless romantic. Fell in love with a simple idea with a